Good evening. Happy International Women's Day to every woman out there. Know that you're strong, you're courageous, and you're fearless. And that's why today's live show is targeted towards mothers. So today we'll be looking at moms and money, teaching wisdom through everyday moments. That is what we'll be looking at. It's going to be an interesting time. I have a guest, who is a child and children and adolescent counselor. And also a parenting coach. So we're going to be having interesting conversation today. Today being International Women's Day. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. It's nice seeing your face after a very long time.
I know, right? It's been years.
Just you're doing good. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day to you too.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yesterday we had the program where I worked, and I was telling females that it's very essential that we know what we carry as as women, how powerful we are, and how God has wired us. So, and I was telling them how they have to appreciate themselves, regardless of your body shape, body likes, because media have shown to us a particular. I was telling them that who told you that before you are beautiful, you have to be light in complexion? Who told you that? Who sold figure 8 to us? It was media. And I was telling them that they should tell people that if you are too tall, if you are taller than me, you are too tall. If you are shorter than me, you are too short. If you are bigger than me, you are too big. If you are slimmer than me, you are too slim. It's just very, very important that we accept who we are as women, and the way God creates us. And I was telling them that you give clothes should not be the one adding to your beauty. You are the one, that carries that clothes, not the clothes. It's not the clothes that is making me beautiful. I am the one. It's just an accessory. It's the beauty is not about the clothes, but who I am. So you're welcome to this show. Today is targeted towards mom.
Yeah.
And because we're using it to celebrate women all over the world. And today we are looking at an interesting topic, moms and money, teaching wisdom through everyday moment. I know that you're a child and children and adolescent counselor and also a parenting coach. I would like you to do a little bit of introduction of yourself while we go deep into our conversation.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much, Wuraola. My name is Wuraola Ogundipe, and I'm a child and adolescent counselor. I run Olive Resources, that's the arm of business where we get to sell educational resources, books, games, basically to create a nurturing environment in the home. Then, most importantly, I like to say that, most importantly, I am an advocate for healthy parent-child relationship. So, this is me in summary.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Parenting is very interesting. I remember that I started reading parenting books way back when I was in school. And you know how interesting people will be looking at me that, are you all right? Why are you reading parenting books? I'm saying 100 level, 200 level. Parenting is something that I am very interested in, and it's a very, very, and unfortunately, these are phases of life that we don't get to be taught. We find ourselves in those phases. True. And we just stumble on it. Money, we are not being taught about money. We just find ourselves there, and we are learning. Parenting, nobody really sat us down about parenting. And most times
Nobody.
is the way we're being brought up, most likely is the way we're going to bring up our children. Or basically what we see in the media or exposure. Those are the things that form our parenting styles. Not necessarily that there was a school or a particular training that trained people on parenting. Having to be in an environment that I have access to 1,000 youths, every quarter. See,
Okay.
there are some people that are not parents. I can categorically say that. Based on my experience, man,
Yeah.
you hear some things and you be like, this one's parents. And this one really, really, really parents. So it is very, very important. Okay, so thank you so much. I'm just emphasizing that you are in a very, very interesting age.
Thank
That is very, very,
you.
very, very important that people take note. So let's go to this thing. Many parents use screens to keep kids occupied, especially when they need a break. Is this harmful, or can it be used wisely? How can mom strike a balance? It has become a norm. You see a child of 4, 5 already have a tab. It's just like a means of pacifying children now. Once they are crying, the next thing you want to do is to hand them over a phone or a tab to keep them busy. Do you think this is harmful, or it can be used wisely? Then how do we strike a balance?
You know, when you use the word pacifying, that's the correct word. A lot of times, parents use devices as pacifiers, forgetting that in the long run, these things have their own that most that unfortunately cannot be reversed. When it comes to the screen can be used advantageously and disadvantageously, depending on what purpose it is serving. So technology is a blessing. I keep saying that. Technology itself, development of technology itself is a blessing. What we do with it is what defines the benefit or the.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So excessive screen excessive exposure to screen for children is not beneficial. I always recommend guided use. Guided use. I always recommend guided use because I believe that children shouldn't be exposed to screen. In fact, World Health Organization and Association of Association of Pediatrics in America also say that there is a time limit for screen exposure for children. So for children ages 0 to 2, according to World Health Organization, they don't have a business being on the screen at all. For children ages 2 to 3, maximum of 30 minutes in a day.
Wow.
And that 30 minutes should be guided use, not that they are sitting down dormantly in front of the screen. No, there has to be an adult with them. And whatever content they are watching has to be educative, one, has to be interactive. So they are asked questions and they give feedback. Because when you're using the screen, when you're using the screen, you're basically just taking in. But when it is an interactive use of the screen, you're taking in and then you're giving back. So for ages 2 to 3, it has to be a guided use. So it has to either be an interactive class they're having, maybe rhymes where the instructor in that rhyme is asking them questions and they give responses in return. Or there's an adult sitting with them that pauses that video from time to time and then asks them questions. So the brain is not just dormant and taking in for 30 minutes for ages 2 to 3. Now for ages 3 to 5, they shouldn't do beyond 1 hour. Educational consumption, not entertaining consumption, not using the screen as a pacifier now. For ages 3 to 5, nothing more than 1 hour. For ages 5 to 8, thereabouts, about 1 hour, 30 minutes. Ages 8 to 13 shouldn't be more than 2 hours of educative content. And then 13 and above, the same thing, educative content. So when it comes to screen consumption, it's important to strike the balance. So beyond using the screen as pacifier, beyond using the screen as a means of entertainment, the benefit is actually in what you do with it. And then knowing when and how to engage children in the use of screen. That is what actually makes all the difference. Now, you'll see children who are so used to the screen, and when they are away from the screen, they begin to throw tantrums. I have seen a 2-year-old who, the moment you turn off the screen, he stands up, gets really upset, and goes to start hitting his head on the wall. That child has developed an unhealthy addiction to the screen.
So, if I may ask, the excessive screen time, what is the effect on children's ability to learn important life skills? And what alternatives can moms introduce?
Okay. So when it comes to excessive exposure to screen, the only time that a child learns from the screen is when it is a guided session. If it is not a guided session, the child is not learning anything. So there are healthy alternatives. Whatever it is you need a child to learn on the screen can as well be learned off the screen completely. In fact, better off the screen, because children learn better by interacting with their immediate environment. That is why I said even when they're on the screen, whatever they are watching has to be interactive. There has to be somebody asking questions and they are giving the feedback. So it has to be an interactive. Children learn better in their immediate environment, in interacting with people, interacting with real life objects. For example, a 2-year-old who is just learning about sizes and texture would learn better if the child gets to play with sand, gets to play with grains of rice, gets to play with probably you pour flour in a bowl. That child will learn it better. So he or she may not have the word to describe what they feel, but by the time they put the flour in their hand and rub it against their palm, they understand that this one feels smoother than when they put sand in their hand, rub it together. They understand the texture. So they are learning the difference in texture. They won't learn this on the screen no matter how hard you try. So the impact of excessive screen is now, like I said, when you're on the screen, you are not actively engaging the brain. So it uses the ability to learn problem solving. It reduces the ability to learn creative thinking. It reduces the ability of the child to be creative personally. It reduces the ability of a child to be able to think critically. So when a child is faced with problem, probably the child is trying to put on his shoe or her shoe, and then the child begins to feel frustrated because he has not developed the ability to actually stay in the place of difficulty. He has not developed the ability to face tough time and stay there. If that child is used to playing with sand and the sand probably gets stuck in his fingers, he understands that certain things can feel really uncomfortable. So the child is also learning emotional intelligence, while the child is also learning resilience. So when they don't get to interact with their immediate environment, if they are always on the screen, they are deprived of learning these skills. In turn, they struggle with social skills. When it comes to interacting
with people,
children who are I have seen adults struggle with having healthy conversations because they're glued to their devices bulk of the time. So they are having conversations with people that are not real, people that are not in their actual life. So when they are around actual people, they will struggle to engage in conversation.
Yeah, true.
Excessive exposure to screen also affects attention span.
Yeah.
Now, the way the screen works in fast-moving images, which the brain of the child cannot interpret yet. So because the brain is receiving fast-moving images, the brain is not able to focus on that one image and absorb the information in that image. The same thing happens in real life. So they begin to struggle with attention. They begin to struggle with concentration. They begin to struggle with focusing on specific tasks for a period of time. So these are some of the impacts of excessive exposure to school. Now, the alternative recommendations that I would make is when you need to use the screen, let it be guided. You probably want to teach your child financial literacy. You probably want to teach your child about certain household chores. You probably want to teach your child about having a sense of responsibility. You can get probably 2-minute videos to engage with them. For instance, when I have some of these conversations with my kids, what I do is I get a 2-minute video. In the middle of that 2 minutes video, I'm still pausing and explaining. Because I want them to be able to use their brain beyond what they are seeing on the device. So when you use the screen, let's be that there is a beneficial purpose attached to it.
Okay, so for some moms that might be saying, I don't have all the time, are there alternatives of maybe other games, that they can make use of, to maybe to entertain them rather than using screens?
Okay, so when it comes to engaging your children, I always recommend physical resources, active play. For example, a child that plays with, depending on the age of the child now, a child that plays with resources, there are age-appropriate resources for different age brackets. So if, like I said, if what you're trying to teach your child is what, let's say for instance, you want to teach your child creativity, or you're just thinking of how to engage your child without particularly being there, get toys. Get toys that they will see and begin to. So every child is curious. Every child is curious. So the moment a child sees this, the child is wondering, what is this
What's
thing?
this? Yeah.
Apart. Most times as parents, we are quick to say, don't touch it, you're going to spoil that thing. In the process of interfering with them, not spoiling that thing, we interrupt their learning process. Curious is part of the learning process. So by the time the child tries to rip this apart, or the child is curious and the child is wondering, what is this? And then the child pulls it out. He understands that, okay, so some things can actually be detached and some things can be fixed. So at that point, he tries to break it out completely and see if he can fix it. That is when parents now begin to complain, this child has damaged everything. So because that child is being curious, what you can do is give them healthy alternatives. Building blocks, puzzles, if they are old enough, chess, Scrabble, Monopoly is a very advantageous game, because there are certain skills you learn in Monopoly that you when it comes to negotiation skills, you're learning that in Monopoly. Financial literacy, you're learning that in Monopoly. There is this Who Wants to Be a Millionaire also is available as a board game. That also teaches negotiation skills, teaches general knowledge, teaches problem solving, critical thinking. So there are actually games that your children can effectively engage in, and you'll be able to win them off. You don't necessarily have to be there with them. If you have the time to sit with them for so long.
So if you're a parent watching, don't be quick to buy a tab. There are educational toys and games you can buy that will help the productivity of your children. So nowadays it looks like a modern fashion, that your child has a tab. Don't be quick to get them a tab. What you do is there are board games, there are physical games, there are physical toys that you can get them and they will still learn. So talking about curiosity, kids are naturally curious. How can mom use their children's daily questions as opportunity to teach valuable life skills? Sometimes a parent we tend to shush them, maybe because of what we are dealing with, pressure here and there, and we don't maximize some of their curiosity questions. And sometimes their questions could be extremely funny or looking like it doesn't make sense. So as a mom, how can we use, those daily questions as an opportunity to teach valuable life skills?
Okay, thank you for this question. Now, when children engage with their immediate environment, they ask a lot of questions. The way we respond to these questions will determine if they will keep coming back to us for answers, or if they will go out to get answers. Now, children already have information at the tip of their fingers. What they need from us is knowledge. They have
Please, please repeat that. Children have information at
the tip of their fingers.
So what they need is knowledge.
Is knowledge. So they have access to the internet. Their friends know a lot of things about so many things. The conversations that we are afraid to have with our children, they have those conversations out
there.
So when they come to you with certain questions and you shut them down, in their head, mommy does not know this thing. So next time, they are not coming back. They would rather have that conversation outside. Another, when they come to you and you go all, where did you hear that from? And then you begin to yell at the child and you're shutting the child down, the child won't come back to you either. So what you want to do when your child comes around and is being curious or asking you questions, even if that question makes you feel uncomfortable, you're going to have to give the child a response that would make the child want to come back to you. Okay, so this question you just asked, honestly, you cannot know everything. So it's okay to tell your child that you don't know it. Yeah, I honestly
will get back to you.
This question, but give me some time. I'll do my research and then we'll come back and have this conversation. Now, the child, you've given the child something to look forward to when you do that. So another angle is when you're frustrated or when you are overwhelmed or when you are angry and your child comes to you. Now, except you have mastered your emotions. If you're an emotionally intelligent person, you are able to tell the child, okay, so I'll respond to you, but I need 15, 20 minutes to, tell your child exactly how you feel. So I feel very tired right now, or I feel upset right now, and I want to be able to give you the quality of attention that you deserve. Can you please give me a few minutes? Give me 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes to get some time to myself. When I'm ready, I'll come to you and we can have a conversation. So instead of just shutting the child down because you're upset or because you're tired, because of course life happens to us all. Now the question the child comes to ask you could also be life happening to that child. So the way we respond to it in that time will determine how the child would come back or if the child will even come back.
Thank you so much. What you're saying also relates with, teaching financial literacy. A lot of times parents, we say things that are not right as regards money. And we don't know that what we are saying is forming already mindset in their mind around money. They ask you questions, or they didn't even ask you questions because of situation around you. You shout at them and say, meaning that, am I plucking money on the tree? That is a wrong answer to give your child. He asks for something and probably you can't afford it that time, or you are not so buoyant at that time. Instead of you to sit down, and we also make a particular mistake to think that they are too young, for us to have some conversations with them, and that is wrong. Especially the children we are giving birth to these days. You will see 1, 2, you'll be thinking like your ancestor. So that really shows that the rate at which their brain is developing, you can't just be careless with words around them. You can't.
True.
You can't be careless with words around them. So instead of you saying, oh, sweetheart, right now, oh, dad or mom, I might not be able to give you what you need. Maybe give me some time. Maybe by my next pay, I'll be able to, come it up. You just shout at them. You don't know that they used to work out for because your own experience look like that does not mean that you lash it out on your children. So when they say something, when they ask you questions, answer them. Or if they don't ask, let what you are saying is teaching the right thing. Instead of saying, you don't even know I'm under money. Do you think I'm blocking money? No. Have a conversation. You can't continue to be doing this and this and this and that. I'm going to take care of your needs, but just give me time. Dad and mom have noted down, but this is not an immediate thing you need. So that while you're having that conversation, you're already talking about needs and wants. You're already talking about delayed gratification. There are a lot of things in that conversation that you're already teaching them. So When your children are curious about questions, don't shut them down.
There are actually some responses we give our children that begins to give them this scarcity mentality. When your child asks you, "Mommy, I need money to do this," I don't have money. "Mommy, I need this same that you just said." It's basically about a scarcity mentality. So even if you don't have the means to meet that need right now, you can ask the child, "So this is what I have. What do you think you can do? Do you have something you want to add to it?" Because once we are exposing our children to financial literacy, there is a lot to it. We are teaching them to earn. Nobody does. You're going to have to learn to give value to get money. So we should actually be asking or having with our children to help them develop a healthy with money.
I remember that I have I was invited somewhere and I was to speak to parents, not parents generally, singles and married, and I was talking to people and I said, "How many of you think money is difficult?" Quite a number of people said yes, and I said, "If I may ask, one of the genesis of you having that mentality is because you see dad and mom struggling, and you feel that you have to struggle your ass out before you make money." And quite a number of people resonate with that. That is the origin of them having that mentality that money is difficult to get. I said, if you have that mentality that money is easy to get, it's going to be easy. They say, is that us? Yes. If you think it's easy, if you think you have to struggle, work hard, that is what it is. And unfortunately, a lot of parents are also passing that same thing across unknowingly.
Children.
So a lot of things we teach our children. I was asking people that, have you done something before? And you will tell yourself, "Oh, this is my mom." They say yes. Have you done something like that? In your heart of hearts, you know that, "Oh, mom, this thing I'm doing, this is a replica of my dad." They say yes. I said, "Do you know some of those things you are not being taught? You are not like intentionally being, sat down like, okay, I want to teach you this." They are just things you pick based on what you see at home. So it's very, very, that's why I said that, parenting, it's a very, very delicate work, because it's not just about what you say alone and what you tell them to do. It's about what you do as an individual. It's about some of the exposures you give to them. It's about a whole lot of things. That's how you are shaping another human being, whether you do it intentionally or
Or
not.
not.
So if I may ask, in today's fast-paced world, how can moms help their children develop patience, resilience, and emotional intelligence? Because you see these three things, even in making money, you need it. And unfortunately, a lot of our young people, they are not patient and they don't have resilience at all. They don't have those two things. They just want to do something like this. You're comparing yourself with somebody that's been working for the past 20 years. You want to have the same results with them. And you don't want to, develop patience and resilience. So how can, knowing that fully well, moms are the easier, will I say easiest contact with children, how can we teach our children to develop patience, resilience, and emotional intelligence?
While you were talking, you mentioned delayed gratification. You see that delayed gratification, when we were young, when we were younger, our parents actually tried using it for us or tried teaching us, but it didn't come across directly. It was during a conversation that it actually occurred to me. So this thing our parents were doing was delayed
Delayed
gratification.
gratification.
So when you go out and somebody gives you something and you're quick to say, "Mommy, can I eat it?"
Yes,
Say,
no.
"No,
You're taking it to school the next day.
that thing. So when I get home, I'll have it." Or you go to your child and say, "Mommy, I want biscuit." "No, I'm not giving you biscuit now. You can have it much later, but not now." That is actually teaching your child delayed gratification. But most times you don't even know. It takes deliberate attention to know. But then there's a way that you can deliberately teach your children these skills. For instance, so I just finished a course last month where I guided people to pick a theme they'll be running with. year. For this year, my children's theme is resilience. You can sit down and craft a curriculum around whatever skill you want to teach your children. When you are able to do this, it helps you to go deeper than what you will just get involved in regular conversations. Because if you're going to teach your children this thing, first you have to learn it for yourself. If you are not emotionally intelligent, you cannot raise an emotionally intelligent child. You can't give what you don't have. If you are not a patient person, you cannot have children that are patient. Everybody's emotion will just be flying everywhere. If you are not resilient, of course, you're going to raise children that are lily-livered because they see that mommy or daddy doesn't even, any little thing like this, they have melted. So you have to be able to model your children, you have to be able to build it for yourself first. Let it be that you yourself, you are a patient person, you yourself, you are emotionally intelligent, you are resilient. Then when your children see these things, monkey see, monkey do, they will pick it automatically because you are modeling the right thing to them. So the first point in teaching your children patience, resilience, emotional intelligence, or any skill at all is modeling. In modeling it, you have to be it first. And then they see that you are exhibiting this thing. That's one. Two, you now want to make deliberate effort to teach them these things. So for instance, if what you want to teach them is emotional intelligence, deliberately engage them in conversations around emotional intelligence. You can use storytelling, you can use resources. Actually, you can engage them with resources that help them with delayed gratification. When you're playing games and you're playing games on taking turns or turn taking or teamwork, that is teaching resilience. That's teaching delayed gratification. That's teaching patience. So if you have a child who is quick to want to grab something, the fact that you are taking turn in playing that game, the child has to learn to wait till it is his or her turn. So in the process, the child is also learning impulse control. The child is also learning emotional intelligence. The child is learning a lot of other life skills. Now, another thing you want to do is when you see that they are making efforts in the right direction, praise the efforts that they are making, not the results. If you keep praising results, you'll be raising children who are hungry for affirmations, for participations. So instead of praising the results, what you want to do is praise the efforts that they are putting in. That helps them better. And then with that, you are able to also guide them to develop specific traits. So when you see that they are building these skills better, you can also engage them in physical trainings. You can enroll them for physical trainings or virtual courses in line with these skills that you want to teach them. But like I said, it has to start with you as the adults, the immediate adults in their life, because it's easy for them to portray what they see more than what they see.
Thank you so much. I think this is one of the highlights of today is that modeling.
Yes.
Modeling. That is it. You can't give what you don't have. You understand? If you're an impulse person, buyer, if you are just a reckless spender, your children will pick it. If you're a gambler, your children will pick it. Go and check people that are gamblers. Most of the time, it runs on the blood.
Yeah.
So as you are giving good traits, there is also bad traits that your children is going to pick. And that is why I even tell people that are still youth is that, see, whatever character or habit you are building right now, just know that you are building for your generations to come.
You will pass it down.
So whatever habit, whatever thing you are doing, just so that you are not just you are not just for yourself. Whatever you're doing is not just for yourself. Is in a way, generations are tied to it. So whether good or bad, generations are tied to it. The characters you are forming, the habits you are forming, generations are tied to it. How does witchcraft start? Some of these stupid jealousy. That's why you see that they pass on to witchcraft. Because there are some things that, it's just witchcraft. So characters we are modeling as an individual, just know that. And that's why at every point in time, we have to get better for ourselves, not necessarily because of somebody else. Be a better version of yourself at every point in time, because generations are tied to you. You can't teach. You said something. If you're an angry person, your children will be automatically. You have some of them that will just be, an angry bird.
All of
Maybe some can pick from the other parts that maybe there is no angry, but they also have that trait. You understand? If you're an impulsive buyer, you just spend money anyhow, your children will pick it. You can't say, don't do this, and you are doing something else. So parents are the first model for their children. Whatever thing they learn from outside is just additional to it. You are the first model, and as a mother, you are the oga pata pata of the model. So as we're rounding up, I want us to talk about this. What advice do you have for mom who struggle with saying no without feeling guilty?
Your first assignment as a parent is not to make your children happy.
That one is deep.
Your assignment as a parent is not to make your children happy. If your goal is to make your children happy, you have no business being a parent, because you are not going to be able to give them the skills that they need to thrive. Don't forget that you are a caretaker to these children.
Yeah.
God will hold you accountable for them. So your assignment as a parent is to raise a skilled child. The skills we need right now, not the skills that our children will need in their time, because the skills our parents needed is not what we have right now. So all of this, it transcends every generation. So you want to be able to raise children that will thrive in their generation. Children that will make impact in their generation. And that is not going to happen by you being soft or your children don't have to like you. Invariably, they would love you for it. They would appreciate you for it. So you don't give them what they need, what you know that they need. It goes beyond oh, I don't want to hurt my child. I don't want my children to go through what I went through. I don't want my children to struggle. The skills they need is in the struggle. The tenacity that they need, the resilience that they need, the problem solving, critical thinking, all of these skills that they need, resilience, patience, emotional intelligence, stamina, stability, being audacious, all of these things are not skills that will come at them because they feel good or because they feel happy. We are going to have to teach them to do the right thing, whether or not they feel good about it. Because it is the right thing to do. So the focus is not how anybody feels. The focus is what is important.
Thank you very much. I think I agree so much with that. I remember while growing up, my dad is the, in a way, half of your parents, you have the softer part, you have the one that looks hard. So my dad is I'm like, why is this man like this? But, in retrospect, I think I appreciate him. He's so when you see me being an independent person, when you see me make decisions, it didn't just fly. They are consistent. I told somebody at age 13, I started paying my school fees. I would go to the bank to pay my school fees. I remember there was a day my dad gave me my school fees. We tied it on my skirt like this, and he told me while I was going that if you like, talk to somebody, let them collect that body. Shall know that you will not go to school. And I'm very certain that if my dad said that's the end for your school, well, maybe you can reconsider, but I can stay home one time. I know my father. till
Oh
I
my
got to
God.
the bank. So he has take me to the bank. He has taught me how to fill teller. I have done that, quite a number of times. But this particular day, he asked me, I can never forget. He asked me to go and pay it, not everything, but part of my school fees by myself. Hey, I did not talk to if you say anything, what is that? I went and I paid, and those were things that formed the independent mind that I have. Those are the things that formed. Do I like it? No. I remember that my father can carry me to school. He will not carry me. Do you know what my dad will do? He will take me to the junction. He will now wait. I will struggle to enter, but sometimes he can. First time or two, first few times, he struggled to enter. He showed me how to struggle to enter. The next one, he will just stay. He will stay back. I said, whoa, whoa. Like that one is not your image. You see that one. See how he quickly entered the bus. You are standing there. So with that, I started developing how to struggle. Struggle for things. So
Oh,
yes, your children might not like you right now, but like I said, in retrospect, sometimes when I sit down and I say, how do I build some of this tenacity? How do I build how did I build some of these things? I can trace it back to him. I remember how my dad would tell my mom that when you wake up with this girl up, my mom would be like, there's nothing she wants to do for me. My dad will say, wake her up, oh, wake her up. If he's giving Maggie, let her sit down in the kitchen and be giving you Maggie. If he's giving me salt, and I'm like, which kind of man is this? Can you just leave me to wake up 7 o'clock and dress? He will say no. He say she's a woman. If you wake up 5:30, wake her up. I hated. Is that the right word? I did not like him while growing up. I'm like, what kind of man is this one? What kind of man is this one? I did not like it. But at the end of the day, I appreciate it. You understand? I appreciate that effort. So I'm just reiterating what you're saying based on experience, that there are things that you would do that your children might not necessarily not like as of now, or they might not appreciate it now. But those things, they will come back later and say, oh, dad or mom, we are grateful for this training. While we are going through it, it wasn't what we expected, it's not what we liked. But at the end of the day, we are grateful that you gave us that experience. We are grateful that you taught us, those things. So it's very important that we do some of those things. So I don't want to bog us so much. This will be our last question, then we'll round it up. I've been having an interesting time. So let's look at chores, shopping, and cooking. How can moms use this everyday activities to teach responsibility, decision making, and financial wisdom?
oh, great. So when it comes to chores, let's start with chores. Chores, shopping, and cooking. When it comes to chores,
Oh, I don't know why she went off. Okay, let me see if I can have her back. Okay,
can
you're back. I didn't know what happened.
yeah, I'm sorry, my alarm rang, so it disconnected
Oh,
the. I'm
okay.
sorry. So, like I said, when it comes to chores, a lot of time parents think that their children don't need chores. Now, let me start with the example you gave when your dad said, even if it's for you to help her peel Maggie. When I cook or when anybody is in the kitchen, I make sure my children are there, because you see that Maggie peeling. When you say children struggle with handwriting, when they are peeling Maggie, they are doing fine with it
Mm.
because their fingers are busy.
You're
Now,
busy.
when they are all learning in kitchen, you are not just teaching them, they are not just seeing. Somewhere in their mind, they are able to see the quantity of ingredients that you use in relation to the quantity of food that you're cooking. This one, when they are able to master this one, it can help their mathematics skills in school. When children struggle with fraction, cooking helps to solve that problem. If they are able to master the quantity of ingredients and how you are able to portion the ingredients, it helps them in their academics. There are chores that, for instance, if your child is sweeping or if your child is engaging in any house chores at all, you are teaching them problem solving.
Oh, network, I pray she were able to round up. I pray we're able to round up. Let me see if she can come back. So it's very important as parents that we pay attention. Intentionality is very important in parenting. Very, very. Intentionally teach them some skills, especially skills that we know that we are not being taught in school. Money is one of them, and it's very important that we're intentional about teaching them money. Very intentional. Talk about money, have maybe family finance meeting or thereabout. Watch YouTube videos about money, watch podcasts together. If they're a big grown up, you can read books together. Intentionality is very, very important. It is very important, that we're intentional, teaching our children some of these life skills. Yeah, I know we are all busy. I know in the world of today, everybody to make ends meet is it is what it is today. And now we're even clamoring that one source of income is not enough. So imagine you have two, three sources of income, everybody's just looking out for a better life for their family. But beyond you going to get money or look for money, let's be intentional about teaching them some of the skills. Very, very intentional. Be deliberate. Today, I want to teach them this. Today, this is what I want to teach them. So in your conversations, you are slotting in your teachings already, and it doesn't have to be boring. It can just be a conversation, storytelling. Just tell a story. That's how the folk tales came about, midnight stories and the likes, where you use those stories to teach valuable lessons. So it is very important that we are very intentional, and we schedule. In your intentionality, you try to schedule. You schedule. Let's say, okay, this week, this is what I want to teach them. You teach them budgeting. You make them look at what is in the house. From mothers, they can help you to do your grocery shopping list. Let them look at the house. What do you have? What don't you have? What do you need? Those are the things you are teaching them. Oh, as they're writing, no, this one is not a need. No, based on the money we have, the budget we need to spend, we need to scrap this. Okay, this one is okay. When you're doing that, you're allowing them to know, you're teaching them to know the difference between needs and wants. So it is very important that we're intentional about it. Very, very, very important that we had the intentionality to what we're doing.
Okay. Can you hear
Yeah, I
me?
can
I
see you
think
and I can hear you.
a while. I don't understand what happened with that. I'm sorry about that.
It's
Can you
okay.
see me now? And you can hear me clearly too?
I can hear you clearly and I can see you.
Oh, great. Thank you. So I'm sorry about that. So I was talking about how that when our children are actively involved in chores, it actually teaches them major life skills. Most of these skills that we have talked about, they can also learn them from chores. Now, when it also comes to, I think your question was, how can chores, sorry, can you give me your question?
Cooking, I said, how can cooking, chores, shopping? How can mom use these everyday activities to teach responsibility, decision making, and financial wisdom?
Okay. So when it comes to cooking, I think I've answered that of cooking.
Yes,
Then
yes,
shopping. So one thing I do is that shopping doesn't have to be far-fetched. As little as probably you run out of something in the house and you need to get it quickly. Your children should be able to run that quick errand for you. So I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old that I can send anywhere within the neighborhood.
You serious?
And when people see them, people are quick to ask them, where are you going? Where are you going? I've taught them what to do. When you get there, ask how much. So don't just send your children out except you have taught them. So teach them how to actually engage in conversations with people. Teach them how to demand for what they need. Teach them how to ask for the cost of what they need before dropping money. Teach them the things to look out for. When you teach them these things, you're also helping them learn decision making. From time to time, you can also take them out to window shop. After you have taught them how to window shop, on another time, you can take them out to actually shop on a budget. So I'm giving each of you 1,000 naira, and we are going to so and so place. You're going to buy things for yourself. I won't interfere with what you're buying, but this is your budget. So you won't exceed this. You see, it's in stages already. So after you have taught them to negotiate, after you have taught them how to look out for what they need to buy by window shopping, then you are actually exposing them to the actual sense of shopping. So all of these are financial literacy, but on different grades.
Level.
Now, when you are in the home, you can actually engage. Okay, I think I already talked about engaging them with Monopoly. I talked about engaging them
Yeah.
with the board game,
Board
Millionaire.
games.
So there are, depending on what stage your child is in. But I would
Yes.
also recommend that you teach them these things early enough, because I have can you please hear me?
Yeah, I can see you. I think we need
Okay,
to, the network is telling us to round up.
I know, right? So I think have I answered that particular
Yes,
question?
you have.
Okay.
All right. So thank you very much. We can see how in different stages we can teach our children, every day, using our everyday activities to teach them different life skills. But I think to wrap it up, it's just intentionality. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Whatever you're not intentional about, there's no how you can pass it. So today, henceforth, be intentional to teach them some of these things. Don't just make it a passive thing. Be intentional. I want to teach emotional intelligence. I want to teach delayed gratifications. I want to teach creativity. I want to teach critical thinking. I want to teach this. So be intentional with the message you want to pass across. Then, depending on your children, they look for the best means to pass it across to them. But the ideal thing is, if you want to pass wisdom in everyday activities, you have to be intentional, because for everyday activities, there are a lot of things you can teach your children. But if you're not intentional about it, you will not know the message you're passing across at every point in time. And you'll be able to also gauge yourself. I think I've taught them this. 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 Thank you so much, my guests, for coming today. It's been a very wonderful conversation. I hope one of these days we still have something around teenagers. They are very interesting people, and treating teenagers or teaching teenagers, it comes with another another way, another method, and that's one of the mistakes sometimes parents do. You've forgotten that they've evolved. You are still using the approach you are using to teach them when they were toddlers to teach the teenagers, and it looks like they are revoking because you've
Of
not
course.
understood that they've passed that strategy you are using. You have to change strategies as the
Strategy.
children are growing up. It's a nice time having you, and it has been a productive, time. Personally, I've also learned few things, on what to apply, to make, especially to make learning, creativity, Why am I having problems with my English today? Making learning or playing, yes. Playing can be learning. It
Yeah.
depends on the way you see it
Yeah.
and it depends on the way you use it. They can
Yeah.
play and learn at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I have a book I wrote. I launched it today. It's Growing Money Mind, how a 21st century parent can help their children, to empower their children financially. I think it's a book for every parent to read because it captured different things you might not even think you should teach your children. And at every stage, what you can do, to have that culture as a family is a very nice book. I am very sure that anybody that picks it up, you're going to get value for it. Thank you very much, ma'am. It's nice
Congratulations.
having you, and I hope. Thank you very much, and I hope that we have another conversation sometime very soon.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night rest. Good night.
And you too. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.